Good morning, Brazos Valley. Welcome to Red Sea Roundup. I'm your host today, hostess, I guess, Judy Comeaux, and I'm here in our studios at St. Mary's Catholic Center with our station manager, Dennis Maka. How's it going, Dennis?
Good morning, Judy. You're the hostess with the mostest.
Mostest, yes.
I know that's
too bad we didn't
overused.
make up some of those things. You know, we all is infamous and famous. That's not the same.
I think
thing,
you're both.
Oh well, thank you.
You're
How's
welcome.
it going?
We're doing well.
I know you are a multi-state traveler.
Traveling family.
Weekend.
Yeah, Darby and I went to the Catholic Radio Conference, the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Conference this past week, Wednesday through Friday, and travel days on the other sides of both. And so had great meetings with people from all over, not only the nation, but all over the world. I had this one pastor that's from Poland that's there every year. We got to see him.
Oh, amazing.
And he spends about a month in New Jersey, but then comes down to the conference every year at that time. But he helps with radio in Poland. And so it's amazing to see the people from all around. And sometimes I feel like we're a small operating station here, you know, and then I talk to people in West Virginia who have a low power station, and I ask about their family and their parish, and they say, oh yeah, we have a parish of 85 people or 85 families. I'm like, wow, that's small. He's like, no, that's the big one. We're like, wow.
That's big for that area.
It is. They have another parish 30 miles away that's got 12 families, another that has 15, another 30 miles away. And so, yeah, it's amazing, but this family makes all the sacrifices and does everything they can to keep Catholic radio there for the few people that are listening that are Catholic, and those that aren't can get a nice taste of the Catholic faith through their radio station.
I was going to say I saw your picture on the radio, but
yeah,
I saw you in Darby.
I was on the on the Facebook, but yeah, I did have the first live local question for Catholic Answers Live.
Was it
on Friday night
with Patrick?
No, actually with Patrick Coffin, but with John Martinoni.
Oh,
yeah.
I was listening at the time that Patrick was hosting.
Yeah.
That guy cracks me up.
He's great. So we had a live audience there on Friday night, and so we had got to hear John Martinoni and Al Cresta, and got to see a lot of the radio hosts that are on the EWTN side of programming things.
It's always fascinating to see our speakers at the benefits, and it's like, oh, he doesn't look anything like I thought he would.
yeah, definitely. So we had a great benefit 2 weeks ago with Steve Ray, and we're still trying to sort through that. If you're still waiting on your pledge reminder in the mail, please be patient, because my laptop has not died. It's very sick.
Oh,
it needs a new brain, as a matter of fact. So we've got a new hard drive that we're having it put into it. So just ask your patience in that. And so thank you for everyone that was very supportive at our benefit dinner. That's the only way we raise money throughout the year. So we're very happy to be able to provide a great not entertainment, but enjoyable and informative meeting with Steve Ray.
Pam Marvin and I were working together last Wednesday at the enlisted event, which went very good.
I heard it went very well.
It was amazing. 2 Makas were there, I think.
We had 3, as a matter of fact.
Well, I only saw 2 of them.
I wish I were there. We were on our way to Alabama, but yeah.
Anyways, Pam and I were mixing Kool-Aid and getting ready to serve over 100 people or so, and I was telling her, sometimes I feel like I'm just benefited out. I'm tired. I go to this, go to that, and then I get there, and you're in a room full of like-minded people and love for the radio, and then Susan Lowlett and I'm sure other people were calling. I don't know who else was on the calling committee to thank people, but it was just so wonderful to talk to some of the people. I had my little, hi, I'm Judy. Thank you for, your little, what you told us.
Pledge,
Make sure you say this. And a lot of messages were left. And then somebody would answer the phone, which got me way off. There's someone else here. And,
yeah, it's great.
And to hear their perspective of the radio. And I'm in my truck a lot. I'm out on location working in the oil field, and being able to just learn more about my faith while I'm at work.
Yeah. It's wonderful to hear these. We had some great written testimonies from our benefit dinner,
too. Well, I
too,
encouraged him to do that also.
Thank you.
Last week I was at St. Joseph's book study on forming intentional disciples.
Uh-huh.
And one person related that's how she intentionally works on her faith life is by listening to Catholic Answers Live at least once a week.
That's
and
awesome.
She says she just loves, because somebody else's question can spur something that you've been thinking about in one way or the other. And,
Yeah.
You don't have to Google it. You can just listen.
Just listen. And the question you have always had but forgot to ask or didn't know how to ask.
Yeah.
There it is.
Absolutely.
Pretty awesome.
Well, I feel like I need to start off. I like to have things chronologically sometimes in my life. So if I don't make this announcement, then everything else that I have to say will not be correct.
Go for it.
Because remember, this week daylight savings time ends.
Fall back.
So we need to remember to set our clocks back at 2 a.m.
Yes.
You should wake up at 2 a.m. and change it. Otherwise,
No.
You can do that whenever, but 8 o'clock mass will become 9 o'clock mass real quick.
Yes.
Or vice versa.
Get to know your area mass times so
Correct.
you can make sure you can.
So
hit
you'll
the right.
be early if you're wrong, or you're late if you're wrong.
That requires me to think at this moment, and I can't tell you that answer. Call in if you want to answer that question.
Right, help me out here. Well, if we're falling back, we're moving. Okay, we'll be late.
We'll gain an hour of sleep.
Correct.
So yeah.
Like we all need that.
Yes.
I bet Kotka would like an extra hour of sleep.
Oh man, all of us could use some extra sleep.
Deal. So one thing I'd like to tell everybody about that actually starts today is over at St. Anthony's at noon. We're going to start a study, a biblical walk through the Mass by Dr. Edward Shree. Even if you don't have any of the resources, it's the first week of the study, so we'd all kind of be on the same page. I'm going to head over there at noon. Beth Coles, our Director of Religious Education, is going to be leading that Bible study. Another thing that I'd like to tell you about is this Friday, we'll have a day of reflection for the Holy Souls. With November being the month of the Holy Souls, quickly approaching in preparation to help learn more about indulgences and devotion to the Holy Souls, Terry Lipscomb and I would like to invite you to join us this Friday at October 30th. We'll begin with Mass at 8:15 in the chapel. After that, we're going to move into the main church. Terry's texting me right now, so you missed out, my friend.
She could call in.
She could call, but she needs the number. You can call us, Terry, at
885 Love Red Sea.
She hates that part. She wants the actual numbers.
855-683-7332.
We're going to move into the church. Pam Marvin will be our speaker and give us some wonderful hints about praying for the Holy Souls and indulgences. And then we will pray a Stations of the Cross devoted to the Holy Souls. We have some wonderful resources by Susan Tassoni. I got to hear her on the radio Saturday evening. We'll pray a scriptural rosary devoted to the Holy Souls. And after that, the most logical place for us to move over to have lunch together Must Be Heaven.
That works.
Terry hadn't called yet?
Not yet.
That girl. Regardless. So join us Friday, October the 30th at St. Joseph's. If you need more information, you can call the station and I will call you back.
Definitely. You can always call me on my cell at 979-777. Sorry, that was Darby's cell. You call me at 255-2633.
She would probably know the information.
Oh,
too,
yeah. She'd look it up.
Called you. Very good. This Sunday, we have a great opportunity at St. Anthony's. We're having a combined retreat that Net Ministries is going to be putting on. The theme of it is called Reality Check. We, under John Valentino's leadership, St. Joseph's and St. Anthony's is combining efforts to invite teens from all over our deanery. We have teens coming from Rockdale and from Madisonville, along with the churches represented here.
That's incredible.
Oh, it's very, we're so excited. Net Ministries, the National Evangelization team, will be leading it. And it's at St. Anthony's. We'll be over, lots of things going on at St. Anthony's on Sunday. We'll be over in the gym the retreat lasts from 10 a.m. to 4:30, when we'll move over to our main church and have Mass together. Parents are invited to join us for Mass, and after that, we'll have the opportunity to go grab something quick to eat and head over to St. Thomas Aquinas for their Exalt event. And for more information, you can contact either St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Joseph's, or St. Anthony's youth ministers. Lots of information in those bulletins.
I know we're going to have one maca there, so
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
looking forward to it.
There'll be a Comeaux teen and a couple of Comeaux adults also.
So it's a high school retreat. Bring your high schooler there to St. Anthony's.
Yes, and we are going to have registration at the door. We'd just be very excited for any parent that's listening here. You know, our teens are going 100 miles an hour in many different directions. We have wonderful youth ministry programs throughout the whole city, but, you know, you get busy and all this. So this is an opportunity to just take a deep breath, be together with teens all over the area. Another event that's coming up that I'd like to tell you about is the Married Couples Night. Treat yourself to a fun night with other married couples to enrich your marriage vocation. Friday, November the 20th from 6 to 9 here at St. Mary's Catholic Church Activity Center. It will involve a potluck dinner with guest speakers. For more details and to RSVP, contact Carrie Schumann. You can reach her at, I can't see
MET at
Is that
aggiecatholic.org.
MET? It looked like net. I had net on the brain.
No, it's MET as Marriage Enrichment Team. MET at aggiecatholic.org.
Sounds like you've been to one of these, Dennis.
No, but I've done about 27 of those spots over the years. So
Understand.
maybe not 27, but maybe 25.
Keith and I are going to have our own little married couple thing, and we're going fishing next weekend. That's how Keith and I
That'd probably be a married couple's morning then.
Correct.
You'll get up early in the morning and fish?
Yes, we have to drive to Richland Chambers, which is about a 2.5-hour drive. And my daughter Marion is very excited to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and drive across there. But wow, there's just nothing like it.
Sarcasm intended.
Well, she's actually pretty
really
excited
is.
about it. She's bringing a friend.
Oh, well, there you go.
We're going to go and catch some fish.
Of course, they can sleep on the way.
Yes, yes. So,
what else we got going on? Lots to go. Is there much more?
Well, we could.
Sure.
No, I would think that one thing that is across the board for most of our Catholic parishes here in Bryan is kicking off the Thanksgiving baskets. The community, I can give you the information about St. Anthony's Church because I'm holding the bulletin in my hand, but each parish will be working on these this is a wonderful activity, at least my experience at St. Anthony's, to get your kids involved no matter what age they are. It's a big old room full of donations, and we come together. You can check out St. Anthony's bulletin for that, but the community of St. Anthony's will be providing Thanksgiving baskets for families who are facing adversity during the holiday season. By our generous help, St. Anthony's and all the other parishes in one way or another can make their holiday a little bit brighter. We're collecting donations right now through the religious education programs, and you can check out our bulletin for more details.
That is an incredible event. We were able to deliver some food last year, and that's just an honor. The people are very appreciative.
It's kind of a 2-day organizational thing, but on that Saturday morning, the whole parish activity center is full of canned goods, and like I said, especially younger kids can help, and you can try to teach your children that there are people that are needy, but when you see this whole visual, and nobody has to be quiet, and
there's it's an amazing system they have in place with people coming in. So we do have one call on the line, and we have a second one that's about to come in. So let's talk to Terry Lipscomb about the event that you were sharing earlier, but we can share some more.
Absolutely.
Terry, you there?
Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm calling in late. I have a phone that doesn't have the right number, and calling Red Sea Radio Love just didn't work for me, so I'm here.
Oh, hey. Well, good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Good morning. I guess you already talked about the event.
Well, I don't think that it would be harmful to hear it all again in your voice.
Well, Oh, you're sweet. Well, I just really want to share the beauty of the church's teachings on praying for the Holy Souls, and that this prayer morning will just be in preparation of us preparing our hearts for the month of November, as we can pray the whole month. Our church so beautifully gives us a season of prayer, not only for it to be in November, but for it to carry on in our daily practice, which I think is a beautiful gift that we can give to our church, give back to our souls who have lived for us, or those who God put on our hearts to pray for in a very special way.
Absolutely. Go on and go through the Friday morning and tell us about it one more time.
Okay, at St. Joseph, Friday morning, we will gather at 8:15 Mass, and then from the chapel go into the main church and pray the Rosary for the Holy Souls in Purgatory, as well as the Station of the Cross. And we'll be using two beautiful prayer books published by our Sunday visitor, written by Susan Sassoni, who happened to be a guest on Red Sea Radio, one of the shows Sunday night, which I got to catch, which was an awesome shot in the arm from me. And Judy, I think you were able to.
Absolutely. You shot me a text, and I was able to listen to it on my way home.
Well, she is just the powerhouse of our church. She has been had audiences with Pope John Paul II, and he so encouraged her to help bring this lost teaching back to our community, to our own churches. So Judy and I have diligently, sometimes not as diligently as other months, but continue to try to do this throughout the year. Also, Pam Marvin's going to speak for a 15, 20 minutes to help us realize how everything that we do can be done in sacrificial way, and how our sacrifices for the Holy Souls can come back to us in multitude, because they are so close to God, and they are spending their time just waiting to be back in His presence. I think that's what Susan said that was the most beautiful to me on Sunday, was that if there was not a purgatory, that when we died we would ask God for it, because we could never even hope to look into His eyes until we're back into that beautiful image that He created us.
Oh, I know. And how she was talking about it being a place of joy, that when, we here on this earth have suffering, and that to be able to turn our vision of our suffering as uniting our sufferings with Jesus on the cross, and that while we're in purgatory, we would desire to have a place like purgatory to where that we would be perfected. We would not want to be in the presence of God without that opportunity.
I just think it's awesome. I'm so excited that Monsignor has opened the church for us. And if there happens to be a funeral, which is out of our control, we're just going to drive over to the Good Shepherd. I don't know if you've prayed those stations and walking. There are beautiful images or at your eye level, and there's plenty of space for a group to walk the stations. And there are indulgences attached to these prayers. And in November also, I was reminded that between November the 1st and the 8th, if you visit the cemetery and pray for the Holy Souls, there's also an indulgence attached to that. So we're going to go over all that on Friday, and hopefully we can encourage one another and continue with this army that we have, and the Soldiers for Souls, to be uplifted for the month and to the duration of the year.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Terry, and I'll see you soon. God bless you.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye.
Terry.
God
We
bless.
got one more person on the line. Barbara, you there?
Yo.
Hey.
How you doing?
It must be best friend day here on the radio station. What a blessing.
You better watch out. You got a lot of best friends out there. Get jealous.
Well, jump on in. Well,
Okay.
tell me
I'm
all
here
about it, my
calling.
friend.
This is the scoop. We got Net Ministries coming here Sunday, and they're coming to our beautiful St. Anthony Church, and it is specifically for the young men and women of our community that are in high school, and for the Brazos Valley and beyond. We've probably got 100 teens signed up right now, and the more the merrier. The cost is going to be $20 at the door. It's this Sunday, October 25th, from 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m., and that includes a Mass So you can't get any better than that.
No, you can't.
The Mass starts at 4:30, and the families are invited because I think it would be incredible and remarkable, Judy Comeaux, for the families to come join at 4:30 because they're going to see teens that are on fire for Christ.
Absolutely. Just to have very good to have that opportunity to bring those teens, take them away from their element, no screen time or anything, and just meet other teens from different schools and have young, energetic college students there that are on fire for Christ, and it's just so infectious. And then to come together for the Mass after that. So go through those times again for us.
Yeah, registration starts at 10 o'clock, and then the fun begins. They have lunch included, and like I said, 4:30 the Mass. But it is going to be Net Ministries is committed to bringing the life of Christ based on St. Paul, and they put on about 900 retreats annually, so they're really good.
We're so blessed to have them here. Very good. Well, I sure thank you for calling in.
Well,
thank you, Barbara.
Keep it on.
All right, thank you.
Guys.
We're going to go to a break, and then when we return, I will be introducing Nancy Crouch, who I'm going to just leave y'all hanging because she's got something really wonderful to tell us about. Welcome back to Red Sea Roundup. I'm Judy Comeaux, your host, and if anybody listening knows me, it would not be a surprise to hear me say this, that I have to tell one story to tell another story. So to introduce my guest today, I have to tell you how I came to meet her. A friend of mine, Meredith Olson, called me and asked me if I would be interested in becoming involved in a project, and I do projects myself. And so she gave me some information about a lady named Nancy Crouch, who is my guest, and she's here to tell us about a plan and a calling and an event that's coming up. And so, Nancy, it's so nice to meet you face to face. We've had a couple of phone calls of meeting, but that's just not enough for me. So now we've met face to face. And introduce yourself and tell me a little bit. Tell your story to tell your story. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. This is my first chance to be on radio, so this is exciting.
There you go. We'll take a selfie in a minute, okay?
All right. Well, my story starts when I had breast cancer, stage 4 breast cancer, in 1985. Mm-hmm. And God told me then that I wasn't going to die yet. The only trouble was I didn't know what yet meant.
Oh, I understand.
So
I get a couple of those yets every now and again, too. So
and I didn't even know that it was stage 4 at that time. Much later, I learned it was stage 4. But I had 11 positive lymph nodes, and I talked to a physician who said that's a death sentence. But
Lord have mercy.
Lord did have mercy, and I didn't die, so that was good.
Yeah.
I had teenage daughters, so I was worried that I wouldn't live to see them grow up, and now they're 45 and 43, so obviously I made it. But the next thing that happened in my story is in 1996, I was at a business training, and the leader asked us to stand up and close our eyes and imagine the future of our business. And what I saw immediately was me standing on the press box side of Kyle Field, looking at half the stadium filled with women who did not have breast cancer because of God and my efforts with my business.
And what is your business? Are you in the same business?
I'm still in the same business, and it's a health and wellness business where we share products that have been vine ripened and they're actually food, whole food. So I'm still in that business.
I see. So you stand up, you've got this vision.
Right. But the problem was I did not know it was a vision. I did not tell anyone about it. I just thought, oh, okay, well, I'm supposed to be working on my business. I didn't get it. And it was many years later. I don't even know when this happened, but I was in Bible study fellowship, and we were studying Joseph. And I was reading the part where Joseph told his vision to his brothers and got himself into trouble. And I thought, oh, I've had a vision. I mean, God finally revealed it after years. So I'm a slow learner for sure.
Well, don't feel alone.
Then the next thing that happened was that God put me on a plan of getting closer to Him. And so over the years, I went to Bible studies. I had Bible studies in my home. I started using a prayer journal, which was new for me. And that really made me feel closer to God. And so I've been doing that for quite a number of years. I don't even really know exactly how many. But at one point, I was at our church, and there was a guest speaker who had written a book about realizing your dreams. And so I bought the book because I was kind of just floundering. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing with all this information from God. So I read the book, and he talked about action steps. So I made a list of 8 action steps. One of them was to take the first step in booking the area that God had told me I was supposed to be working toward. So that area was Kyle Field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. So I believe that God has told me that He wants to have an event in Kyle Field that will honor Him and give Him glory. And so that's what I'm working toward. Well, when I called to find out, this was, of course, when Kyle Field was still under renovation.
The first time or recently?
The first renovation. Okay. So I called to say, well, how much does it cost to book Kyle Field? And nobody had an idea. They were still just, trying to figure out how to get it completed in time, all the renovation. And so, but I talked to a guy, and at first I just said, I want to know how much it would cost to book a Christian event in Kyle Field. And so he said, well, tell me more about this. And then he said, no, I'm not supposed to ask that question. And I said, well, I'll tell you. So I told my story to him. And it turns out that he is also a Christian, so he was the right person. I didn't know him. I still haven't even met him. But I told him I felt that this was something God was wanting to do. And he said, well, I believe that too. So that was a real good confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the years since...
To your knowledge, has Kyle Field ever been used for anything besides a sporting event?
He told me that the last time Kyle Field had any kind of a sporting event was 15 years before that, and this was like in 2014.
Uh-huh.
And he said, and it was a singer, and it was an
concert.
event, just a concert event. And so nobody in the athletic department had a clue how much anything would be, after the renovation. And so it was way early for me to be asking these questions, but
I see.
It was on my list of 8 things I had to ask it. So eventually I did finish all of those in about 3 or 4 months. I finished everything on my action list. And then one of the things on my action list was to pray and walk around Kyle Field.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that God wanted me to do that. And that was one of the suggestions from the book. It said, pray for 3 hours. And so I prayed for 2 hours walking around Kyle Field, and 1 hour I had prayed before that. So I got the impression then, whereas previously I had thought it was supposed to be just for men, women, and children that would be local, and of course I was focusing on those women that had breast cancer. And then, but when I was praying that first time I went around Caulfield, I got that it was men, women, and children from many nations who had all joined together to praise and worship God.
Uh-huh.
So every time I did something, God gave me more information. And so I started gradually sharing the vision with trusted
where
friends.
Are we in time? How long ago? I guess that was about 3 years ago since it was the first renovation.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So we're about 3 years from when I first started the process of taking the action that God wanted me to take.
Okay.
And of course, there have been trusted friends that I've shared the information with, and also obstacles and disappointments. For example, when I went to meet with and tell my story to the athletic department people, they said, well, this is a business, and you may have to get permissions from everybody, the president of the university, the provost, the board of regents, and even all the way up to the state of Texas to do some kind of event like this.
Uh-huh. Oh, my goodness.
And so I got the impression...
How did you feel when...
I was pretty depressed, particularly when I said, well, okay, how much do you think this would cost? And the answer was, well, we don't know. And we won't even start trying to figure out how much until you have a lot of other things in place.
I see.
And so I said, well, if you did know, what would it be? And they said $1 million.
Uh-huh.
And so that freaked me out.
Yeah.
But then, of course...
That's a freakable amount, Nancy.
But, of course, God has millions, so he can do whatever he wants to do. And about that time, a friend of mine whom I told the story to said, well, you need to meet with my friend, Ford Taylor. And it turns out that he had just moved to my neighborhood.
Oh.
He's like a block and a half from where I live.
That's the God we serve.
Yes.
Just put him right next door.
Not only that, but he and I had worked together on the Chamber of Commerce 20 years ago before he moved to Cincinnati. And he told me when I first met with him that God sent him to College Station to help someone. And he didn't know it was me, and I didn't know it was him.
Isn't it just so
it was just awesome.
Fascinating to marvel at the way things play out, and what a gift it is to be able to look back over time and see those Christ incidences that connect and get you from one day, 1 year, 10 years to where you are right now.
Exactly.
And what a blessing.
And so I've been working with Ford, and he's fabulous because he has experience doing stadium events, not as big as Caulfield, but he's done numerous ones in the States and then some even in Africa. So he is a great resource.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that was one of my disappointments, and they told me, well, you have to fill out this form. And so I took it home, and over the weekend, and of course I was disappointed, and I called Ford and told him, oh my goodness, this is scary. And then I said, well, wait a minute, though. I'm going to make them tell me how much it really is.
Right.
That's my...
It's all in the knowing. It's
defiant spirit.
I'm liking you more and more every minute here, Nancy.
And so I filled out the form and sent it in to them, and then waited because they said they were going to have to interview various aspects of the university to see how much would it cost here, how much would it cost there, and so forth. So I waited, and then, I called them, and they didn't answer. And anyway, I had a really negative experience there for a while, but that has turned around. So God is definitely acting. For example, I had called the promoter that we had engaged, and left him a message, and he didn't call back, and it had been a week, and I was wondering what was going on. So I prayed that morning. I said, Lord, please allow me to reach our promoter today.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. The promoter called me before I had a chance to call him again.
Speaking of calling, I want to tell our listeners, if you have any questions or comments throughout the rest of our interview, we would love for you to call in and enter the discussion. I'm speaking with Nancy Crouch, and you can call 85-LOVE-RED-C. That's 855-683-7332. If you're a personal friend of mine or Dennis's, you can text us or contact us that way too. So we get the call from the promoter.
And he is, and so there have been little things that have happened. For example, he did not get the message that I sent him recently, where I had heard from the lady that was in charge of the athletic department. I had called her, and she returned my call. And now everything is sweetness and light. She's so enthusiastic and helpful and willing to work with me. And so I know that was God, of course. Mm-hmm. And so she said, well, I'm going to send you this new form you need to fill out, because we've worked, by this time they had gotten their act together, of course, and had figured out what to do in a situation like this. And so she said, I'm going to send you this form. Well, I didn't get the form, so I sent her an email back and said I didn't get it. And then she said, well, I'm going to have my assistant send it again. And so I never got that form either. So I sent her another email and said, I still haven't gotten the form. And so instead of even sending me the form, she just said, okay, well, I'm going to give you a provisional opportunity if you pay a certain amount to book Kyle Field.
To book it.
It's provisional.
Right. Because
we haven't put the money down yet. But that's way better than we were before. So I don't know if, I can't guarantee that it's actually going to happen in Kyle Field. I believe it is. I believe that's where God wants it. And my second time that I was walking around Kyle Field, I prayed when they were still doing the construction on the west side. And I said, God, I know this is a secular area, but you can take charge of it if you want to.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And I believe that he will.
Well, we do too. Growing up in this community all my life, I was in my middle school years. We had a priest at St. Anthony's, Father Bilski, and he was known throughout the diocese as the Aggie Padre. And he sometimes wore a maroon cleric. And I grew up in a my dad was a cotton farmer, and that's all I knew was the areas between here and Caldwell on Highway 50. And once a year, we celebrate the Feast of St. Isidore, who's the patron saint of farmers. And Father Bilski would have a mass and load up in a plane and go with holy water and bless the crops. And he would always have a big old gallon left at the end and fly over Kyle Field and bless Kyle Field. And so I've grown up with that that action. And when the last renovation was completed, Father David here at St. Mary's went over and had a blessing ceremony. Many youth events that I'm a youth minister at St. Anthony's, we go to as held at like Reed Arena in Alexandria, Louisiana, and Waco, convention centers and everything. And so I sometimes think about the next group that's going to come in after we've had this 4,000 teens worshiping God, coming to experiencing conversion. I just find it so fascinating to think about the Lions Club or whoever's going to be there in that convention center next, to know that they're entering holy ground. And it is very powerful to think about that. And God is the God of everything. So, of course, he's in charge of the Kyle Field as well.
Well, I want to share with you a comment that my promoter made when I was talking about visiting with people and sharing my story. He said, share your story because you have a powerful story. And I haven't really shared my full story here. But one of the things he suggested that I do is that I say this sentence to them. What if God allowed us on one day to fill Kyle Field for worship and prayer and to mark the stadium as God's sanctuary for all eternity? Sorry, I can't ever say that without crying.
It's a very powerful statement. When you shared that with me last night, I was, I'd already assumed the position in my recliner and getting ready, kind of do a little examination of conscience, texting prayers with my best friend and everything. And when you made that statement, the what if just kind of catches you because he is a God of all possibilities and all things can come through him. But it's our faith and hope and trust in him that can help make that happen.
And there have been some very exciting things that have happened that just came out of the blue. For example, some people on my team were visiting a local pastor who has made a concerted effort to get connections between different churches. And so he's invited a small group to dinner on several occasions, apparently. Well, so he was saying at that meeting, when they were discussing the idea of churches getting along or whatever, I'm not sure about that because I wasn't there, but he said, it's not like, we're going to have one church that is in Kyle Field. And he didn't even know about this. So my friend who was there said, wow. And other things like that have happened. Like there were a group of people praying, and they, one lady just shouted out, a gathering in Kyle Field. So things like this have been happening, just randomly.
Wow. You need to get in here, Dennis?
I don't need to, but
Yeah.
I thought I'd throw something in. I'm not sure if something that you knew that happened before they actually ever had their first game in Kyle Field, Nancy, is Father David Condola here from St. Mary's Catholic Center was asked to come do a prayer of blessing over the Kyle Field. Do you mind if I read that prayer of blessing that he had?
I would love that.
Let us pray.
And this is on the Facebook page for St. Mary's. Provident Father, you have filled the earth with good things and have inspired generosity in the hearts of many men and women to share what you have given for the development of others. By your material gifts, we now have this beautiful stadium in which to develop those other gifts of the Spirit that you wish us to have. As we use it, make us wise in our estimation of the fun and excellence of sports, the necessity of education, and the unparalleled gift of faith. Make us victorious in hospitality, unmatched in charity to our opponents, and unwavering in our devotion to our school and our teams and to you. Send your angels to guard this place against all evil. In your name and with this water that you have made holy, we now bless this place and all those who visit and compete here in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome.
Little known
Love
fact that,
Yeah.
there was a blessing upon Kyle Field before it ever was reopened for the first game. So pretty neat to hear all this come together.
He's setting the pace for us, Nancy. So we also had someone text in a question if you could repeat the name of the book that you were talking about, Realizing Your Dream.
That would be a good thing for me to know, but it's something about, it is something like Realize Your Dreams, and I'll be happy to give that information to you when I get home. I don't have it memorized.
Fine. I have personally read a book by Matthew Kelly called Dream Manager, And it talks about you have to be able to realize your dream yourself, because you can't bring people on board to be a part of your team unless you can convey that dream to other people. So I will tell you, that's a very good book called Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. So you've kind of told the backstory about this. Where are we today, and what's our vision, and how things are gonna?
Well, we have a date and a place, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making any promises about that because I don't know for sure it's going to happen. It's not done until it's done,
Mm-hmm.
until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. But there are a number of things that we have already that I feel we already know. And one of them is that God will show up with some sort of manifestation so that men, women, and children, believers and non-believers from many countries can glorify, praise, and worship God, thanking Him for His healing, financial blessings, and salvation. And already there are others in our community who have had similar visions. So that's the who. The what is, the title of the event is, "Oh My God, We Will Obey." And initially, that was a very kind of a tiny little idea, the "Oh My God" part, because I thought that
I really loved how we talked about this last night about this almost flippant way we say that. My best friend called in earlier and used the word remarkable because we think that awesome gets so overused.
Right.
My little old lady replaced that, to heighten it, and the OMG thing. And
Yes.
I try to tell my daughter that all the time. Don't use the word God unless you're actually praying. And if I'm going to use, texting or whatever, I will always, write OM and then capital GOD, write it all out, and to bring reverence to it, even as simply as a text.
Right, and I really believe that was a good beginning for me, because it does say that we want that to be used exclusively for God and not for just flippant layman kinds of things without thought.
Mm-hmm.
So that title has been expanded from just initially "Oh My God" to "Oh My God, We Will Obey," because I believe that's what's going wrong with the Christians these days, is we are not following His commands.
Mm-hmm.
So where is going to happen is from a stage in the stands that will have to be built of the newly remodeled Kyle Field. And of course, the newspaper said it was going to hold 102,000 people, but they've been getting 104,000 people in it. So there will be a praise band with singers that will lead worship music and unnamed speakers. And I particularly like this concept of not having anybody be the star except God.
Amen.
And they will share prayers, short messages about God or scripture, whatever, and we'll vet that. I'm thinking around 30 different people scattered throughout, a combination of music and prayer and that sort of thing. I have anticipated, based on what I'm imagining from God, is an overflow of 10,000 people in Reed Arena, and I have already booked that. I haven't paid the money yet, but she's put me down for that for the date, and so that's the where. And then also, I understand that it would be possible to have the event be viewed over to thousands of people on God TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, we don't know if that's going to work out, but that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking God's telling me. And then the event is going to be April the 30th, 2016, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And initially it was going to be at night, but a friend of mine said she felt that God was saying that it was supposed to be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, okay. and I said, and she said, so that it would honor the Trinity. So I thought that was a great idea. And besides that, the finances would be improved by not having to use lights.
Yeah.
So
well, we fondly refer to 3 o'clock as the hour of power. Jesus was on the cross, died at 3 p.m. and it's an hour here on the radio. We refer to it as the hour of divine mercy. And
awesome! I'm so glad to know that.
Absolutely.
That's great. And finally, I'm using the experiences that my mentor, Ford Taylor, has had. He's been doing all of these stadium events, and he's never had to pay any of his own money or collect funding. People have automatically volunteered to pay for things. Sometimes it's been down to the road, because he gave me an example of a couple that he visited with in the evening after a big stadium event. For 2 hours he visited with them, and the next morning the man called and said, did you have enough money to cover this? And he said, well, actually no. And the man said, well, I'm sending my wife down with a $25,000 check.
Oh my.
And that was exactly the amount they needed to finish it up. So I'm just, God can do anything. So that's where I'm at on that.
Well, your original vision had to do with breast cancer and survivors, and will this event incorporate part of that, do you think?
Well, I think that's part of when I said that, we will celebrate healing. And so, yes, of course, it's not like we're going to have all the breast cancer survivors stand up and, walk across the stage or anything like that.
But many, I feel, this is just my opinion, many hearts are changed. Many hearts are experience conversion, sometimes through something not so Christian. I personally know someone who's been brought to Christianity, felt like they were an atheist, but they were very pro-life and were against abortion. And I really just needed an extra pair of hands to help me with the 40 Days for Life benefit. And I asked him, hey, can you come and help me move this stuff? And so, yeah, sure. And for 2 days, he helped arrange the silent auction and was there working and was greeted. Nobody, it's not like he had a sign, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in all this.
Right.
And through just that short time, he was moved to convert to Christianity, but it was through being pro-life. Pope Francis was here a couple of weeks ago, and many people were just interested in it. And through his recent encyclical is all about the environment. And whether someone believes in Christianity or not, they do believe in the environment. And so are you telling me we're at the end of our program already? Well, Nancy, thank you so much. I know that you'll be coming back and having more information for us to follow up with this. We're very blessed, and I'm very moved by your devotion and your openness to what God has for us. And thank you, our listeners, for being here. As we end our Red Sea Roundup, always remember, when choosing between the values of heaven and earth, always round up.